John Calvin, on Psalm 25, verses 6 and 7. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindnesses, for they have been ever of old. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. Remember not the sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me, for you are good, O Lord. Our sins are like a wall between us and God, which prevents him from hearing our prayers or stretching forth his hand to help us. David now removes this obstruction. It is indeed true, in general, that men pray in a wrong way and in vain, unless they begin by seeking the forgiveness of their sins. There is no hope of obtaining any favor from God unless he is reconciled to us. How shall he love us unless he first freely reconcile us to himself? The right and proper order of prayer, therefore, is to ask at the very outset that God would pardon our sins. David here acknowledges in explicit terms that he cannot in any other way become a partaker of the grace of God than by having his sins blotted out. In order, therefore, that God may be mindful of his mercy toward us, it is necessary that he forget our sins, the very sight of which turns away his favor from us. The psalmist confirms by this that although the wicked acted towards him with cruelty and persecuted him unjustly, yet he ascribed to his own sins all the misery which he endured. For why should he ask the forgiveness of his sins by having recourse to the mercy of God, but because he acknowledged that by the cruel treatment he received from his enemies, he only suffered the punishment which he justly merited? He has, therefore, acted wisely in turning his thoughts to the first cause of his misery, that he may find out the true remedy. And thus he teaches us by his example that when any outward affliction presses upon us, we must entreat God not only to deliver us from it, but also to blot out our sins, by which we have provoked his displeasure and subjected ourselves to his chastening rod. In order to express more fully that he supplicates a free pardon, he pleads before God only on the ground of his mere good pleasure, and therefore he says, according to your love, remember me. When God casts our sins into oblivion, this leads him to behold us with fatherly regard. David can discover no other cause by which to account for this paternal regard of God, but that he is good, and hence it follows that there is nothing to induce God to receive us into his favor but his own good pleasure.